conversation. One guess who? Who never starts an argument? Who never shows a bit of temperament? Who's never wrong but always right? Who never dream of starting a fight? Who gets stuck with all the bad luck? No one but Donald Duck.
Ah, my mic was not on. There we are. Good morning. It's actually not morning anymore. What time is it? It's like 12:45. As you can see from the title, this is a Saturday sleep-in stream edition. So we did not get up for sunrise today. We opted to sleep until we could sleep no more, and then to take our time getting ready for this stream. So I hope you enjoy it whenever it is you do see it and join it. We are live right now. Please leave a like if you follow us live, and leave a comment if you do not as to why you don't follow us live and how you could be doing better on that, because I'd really like to know. All right, make sure I got this all set up properly, got the mic going, got everything running here. All right, you can see the format I'm working on a little bit, adding in some different stuff. And as I mentioned was that Thursday night, I believe, that I'll be doing the first Hidden History this afternoon or this evening, and I'm really excited about that, and hoping to get it multi-streaming on several platforms, as well as starting a deep dive into Atlantis a little bit. So stay tuned for that. All right, we got a couple things we're going to be looking at today on our stream. That was, of course, the Donald Duck cartoon theme. If you watch Donald Duck cartoons, those Donald Duck cartoons, the OG, with that theme song, let me know, and let's just enjoy those for a little while. Those are just so much fun. In fact, you know what? I might actually find... Yeah, I'm going to find one, and I'm going to put it in the either in a pinned comment or in the description, so you can enjoy one of those. That is a classic. All right. So this was a bunch of stuff going on this week, obviously. As I mentioned before, I try to avoid doing political stuff on this show, so I'm not going to talk about all the news going on with that. You can go to a bajillion other shows for that. And in fact, in our Bible Verses series, we go into that stuff sometimes. But for right now, I'm just going to go into other stuff that I've found and seen. This is actually not recent. As you can see, this is from 22nd of March, 2019. But this has fascinated me because, I saw it probably on Reddit or something, but because, you've got like bomb-sniffing dogs, right? Well, apparently, I haven't read this yet, but apparently this woman can smell Parkinson's disease. And I want to know how and why and whence, so we're going to dive into this here. At the moment, there's no definitive diagnostic test for Parkinson's. Really? Oh, I had no idea. What? They can't actually test you for Parkinson's? Then how do they know you have Parkinson's? Soon that might change, thanks to a woman called Joy Milne. She can sniff out the brain disease on someone before the symptoms appear. I'm imagining like her in a... I'm imagining her in an outfit at the doctor's, and they're like, you know what? You're showing some signs of early Parkinson's, but you know how we can find out for sure? Hey, Joy, can you come in here, please? And she just walks in. She's wearing, the orderly outfit or whatever, the nurse's outfit. And then she just walks over to someone and just slowly, like... And then she's like, yep, yeah, this one's got it. Or she's like, no, this one's good. It sounds too bizarre to be true. Yes, it does. Joy noticed the musky smell on her husband 10 years before he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. Wait, so how useful is this? She knew for 10 years, didn't say anything, and then finally 10 years later, they're like, yeah, actually, he did have Parkinson's for 10 years. Good job in catching that. Too bad we didn't care and we didn't do anything about it. When she went to a meeting with other people with the condition, she realized that the smell and the disease were linked. Since then, scientists have been working with Joy to try and identify what exactly she was smelling. Is this woman crazy? It seems to be linked to sebum, the oily excretion that helps keep our skin and hair naturally moisturized. That's the stuff. If you ever get I guess not just on your face, if you ever get a zit or any kind of a pimple or bump, that's usually a sebum excretion factory in your skin that's just kind of like working overtime or got plugged up or whatever. From what I recall, I could be completely wrong on that. Leave a comment and let me know if I'm wrong. Can you tell I want more comments? And which can be produced more in people with Parkinson's. Interesting. I wonder why, if that's like a natural reaction, your body's like, hey, Parkinson's, like, let's make more oil. That doesn't seem to be related in as far as biological function, but I don't know. It was already known. Parkinson's leads to increased sebum production. Oh, okay. Research. They already knew this? Couldn't you, like, train a dog to sniff it out then? Or, like, something else? Some other kind of... The researchers wanted to know exactly which biomarkers were giving off the scent she was picking up. They used mass spectrometry, science, chemical analysis to extract individual compounds. We designed some experiments to mimic what she does. We basically replaced her with science. Swabs were taken from 64 volunteers. Some with Parkinson's, some without, to present to Super Smeller Joy Milne. She's got a superpower. That would be a terrible that would be an awful superpower. If you could smell like a dog, like super, super strong. Not like you smell like a dog, like you can smell things as a dog smells. Right, Rusty? Oh, he's too busy looking for the cat. Because then it would be something you couldn't just turn off. It's not like when you, if you have super sight, you could like block it. I guess you could block your nose, but being able to smell things at that level, oh man, that would be just troublesome. People would be so disgusting. The people with the disease were found to have more hippuric acid, icosane, octadecanal, and other biomarkers in their sebum. The presence of these molecular compounds is linked to the shifting levels of neurotransmitters in people with Parkinson's. Blah, 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 blah. 64 people is a small sample. Yes, it is. Actually, it's a very small sample for any kind of scientific test. There's a lot of potential here. So it's another one of those articles where it's like, things could happen with this. Let's watch as it develops. But never really does. We might hope if we can diagnose people earlier before the motor symptoms come in, there will be treatments that can prevent the disease spreading. That's really the ultimate ambition. All right, well, that's helpful. It's kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I expected that to be more than it was. All right. Space telescopes scour the cosmos for exoplanets, finding thousands of strange and exotic worlds. So there's this planet apparently they're calling it the Clockwork Planet. Reveals a uniquely mathematical orbit. It's roughly the same size as Earth, and its days are 3.14 days of our days. Our days are 1 day. Its days are 3.14 days. That's how that works. And that's about it, actually. This whole rest of this article is probably just fluff. While looking through old data recorded in 2017 by NASA's... That's actually really... That phrasing right there is very interesting, because I found out... maybe even close to a year ago now. It was within the recent future that they shut down. NASA had the... I don't remember if it was NASA. NASA probably helped out with the SETI space... I don't know what it stands for. That program that they do, where they're searching for signs of intelligent life, where they have people scouring the universe for signals coming from other planets or from other beings or whatever. And they actually shut it down not too long ago because they had backlogs of, I think, more than a decade's worth of data that they had not actually sifted through yet. So a lot of these places, like NASA and stuff like that, if they've got just like a channel open where they're just recording stuff, it'd be like live streaming, just recording all day long every day, or if we're in shifts or whatever, however it works, they might end up with hours and hours, days, maybe even months or years worth of data, live data that they haven't actually sifted yet, that they haven't actually had a chance to go through. And they've got programs, algorithms, whatever. I don't know the details, but there's a lot of that kind of stuff that NASA and people like that have, where they had no chance. They haven't had a person be able to look at it yet and say, yes, this is a thing, or this is not a thing, or this is an abnormality, or this is actually just a bug in the system, or whatever. They've got a ton of that stuff that they haven't even gotten to yet. So, which is kind of a crazy thought that we have more data recorded than we even have time to go look at. So, but apparently this came about because they were looking at data from 2017. By NASA's Kepler Space Telescope's K2 mission, astronomers found signals of a potential planet orbiting around a cool, small star. The scientists zoomed in on the potential planet using a network of ground-based telescopes. Imagining all these telescopes just zooming in and watching it. Okay, the signals were in fact traces of an Earth-sized planet orbiting an ultra-cool dwarf star. Way cooler than our star. The planet was dubbed K2-315b, so it's easy to remember and you know exactly what planet they're talking about. Its radius 0.95 that of Earth, so it's really, wow, that's really close to Earth size. It orbits a low-mass star that's about 1/5 the size of the Sun, so it'd be a lot cooler. The planet that is like Earth, K2-315b. It flies around, and at a speed of 181,000 miles per hour, it fulfills its day cycle in 3.14 days. The planet moves like clockwork. Don't all planets move like clockwork? The astronomers could not help but make the correlation between the planet's orbital period and pi. The ratio of circle circumference to its diameter, which appears blah, 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 math stuff. Everyone needs a bit of fun these days. That's kind of a turn. Assistant professor at EAEPS and member of MIT's Kavli Institute. I want to know what Julian DeWitt considers fun when he says everyone needs a bit of fun. He's an assistant professor, excuse me, and a member of MIT's Kavli Institute for Astrophysics and Space Research. Julian's idea of fun is probably a lot different than mine, I'm guessing. co-author of the new study. Unfortunately, there will be no Pi Planet aliens. Oh, so we can't call them pies or pions or peons or something. Temperatures of the Earth-sized planet likely reach 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which coincidentally is a perfect temperature to bake pie. So we literally could make this the Pi Planet. We could do like, we could go conquer this planet and just dedicate it to baking pies. Like we could just pizza pies, regular pies. I actually baked a cobbler the other day at 350. Actually, I had to put it up 360 because our oven's stupid. But you could just make this the Pi Planet, and you would brand it that way, copyright all that, trademark pieplanet.com, and then just go like send shipments of deliveries of raw dough there to just be dumped off, and then you collect them later, and you just have a continuous source of just pies. That sounds like the future I want to be a part of. When the Pi Planet lacks in habitability... Hey, quiet down back there. It makes up for being a testing ground for studying atmospheric conditions. Blah, 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 blah. We can extract planets from... Wait, we now know we can mine and extract planets from archival data. Oh, so that's what they're talking, like I was talking about earlier. They've got tons of data. They just got to go through and find interesting things like this so that they can then be like, oh, there's a planet over there. Let's go study that and see what it's got going on. Hopefully there'll be no planets left behind, especially these really important ones that have a high impact. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, that's cool. Oh, these things. I hate this. When you're reading an article and you're like, oh, that article's done. You're like, wait, no, it continues. And now it's, oh, no, this is a different article. This is about the equinox or something. I don't like when sites do that because they're trying to do, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you hooked in where you just keep on scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and reading their stuff. And you're like, oh, and another article. Oh, and they have more articles on this website? I had no idea. I'm just going to keep on reading forever. Yeah, no. Thank you, but no. All right. Now, I was sent this by, I think, one of my brethren. Yeah, I think that's where this came from. This is a video, and it is called, just making sure everything's still, okay. We're still on. This is called Scary Mary Poppins, like Scary Poppins, I guess. I don't know. I have no context for this, so let's see what this is about. I love the mirror. That's pretty good. I like that. That's pretty good. Wow, that's from 2006. This is old YouTube. This video has 16 million views, and it's from 14 years ago. That is, that's some old school YouTube right there. I don't think I've seen that one. There's a lot of those though that have been done over time. They did Seinfeld. I think they've done maybe Friends. There's a couple of really popular TV shows. They'll re-edit them like that to like as if they were a horror movie. That's pretty good. I like that, and it really works too. That's actually, it's one of those situations that in the magic of the movie, you're just kind of like, yay, it's fun and whatever, and you just kind of watch it. You don't think about it. However, that would be a really weird situation, right? If you're a parent and you're like, okay, I need this person to take care of my kids. They show up and somehow everyone else magically leaves, gets blown away, literally. And you're like, okay, I had all these applicants, but they're, none of them stay around. Okay, and then you hire this person, she's taking care of your kids, and then things are magically moving around that couldn't be moving, and people are floating and going into other worlds and all kinds of stuff. I mean, that'd be a little creepy as a parent. You'd be like, I'd rather know about all of this. I'd rather at least be aware that my children are being involved in some kind of craziness, instead of just, yeah. All right, well, that was interesting. Here's another science article. I love these science articles because they never amount to anything. No, they're kind of interesting. Did anyone else read Popular Science, Popular Mechanics? As a kid, I loved checking those out, and then I was always sorely disappointed when you'd go read this article about some amazing technology, stuff that's getting developed, stuff that's going to change the world. And then like 10 years later, you'd be like, oh yeah, remember that thing they invented? Yeah, it never happened, and no one ever made that. They discovered it, and then they said, that's nice, and then everyone moved on. Or I guess it wasn't fungible. It wasn't going to make money. I don't know. Scientists find a secret molecule that allows bacteria to exhale electricity. This is kind of cool. This sounds really cool. The soil bacteria breathe through giant snorkels made of a special conductive protein, researchers found. For mouthless, lungless bacteria, breathing is a bit more complicated than it is for humans. I would guess so. We inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. Okay. A ubiquitous groundwater-dwelling genus of bacteria, Geobacter, that's a real creative name there, swallow up organic waste and exhale electrons. Those waste electrons always need somewhere to go, usually in plentiful underground mineral like iron oxide. Geobacter have an unconventional tool to make sure that they get there. They breathe through what is essentially a giant snorkel, hundreds of times their size. Wow, okay, weird. That snorkel is called nanowire. These tiny conductive filaments are 100,000 times smaller than the width of human hair. Blah, 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 blah. Billions of these bacteria are buzzing with electricity beneath the seafloor. Oh, that's okay, so they're all the way down there. So these are going to be hard to get to. Using advanced microscopy techniques, the researchers have uncovered the secret molecule that allows them to breathe over tremendously long distances. This discovery could be used to make electronics out of the bacteria beneath your feet. I mean, actually, yeah, in a sense, because a lot of what we... a lot of the stuff with computers, over time we're trying to make them smaller and smaller and smaller, and now they can fit in the palm of your hand. They're only this big, and pretty soon they'll be, this big. And I mean, there are computers that are this big. They're just, can't do as much as something this big, obviously. But this would bring things to a whole other level where you could just like make things that small, because then you could build, like, if that's your circuits, if that's your layout for your board or whatever you use to make this little thing, it would be microscopic, and you could build this tiny little thing. I don't know. This combined with some of those ideas of like quantum computing and stuff. If they had these powers combined, you could really take things to the next level. We could see things where really what it would do is it would enable a lot of this kind of technology would enable everything to be a smart object. So you could have a smart napkin. You could have a smart anything like this adapter, this plug that's used for headphones would actually be intelligent, and it would actually be able to say, hey, like, stop doing that, you're plugging it in the wrong way, or whatever. If you gave everything a little brain, you could have a lot of interesting interactions. I mean, yeah, that would be really interesting. I've often wondered this because we're moving to that direction, right? We've got the smart fridge, smart TV, we got the smartphone, in your pocket, but everything's starting to get little like mini AIs built into them. I know they're not technically AI, but little brains built into them where they can respond to things, or they'll do things, or they'll, your thermostat will turn on and off, based on temperature and weather and all this kind of stuff. And when you get home and this kind of thing, a lot of it's pre-programmed, so it's not technically AI, but when it has a brain, it enables you to do all of that. But what's making me think is pretty soon we'll be living in a world that will be like Toy Story in real life, where everything is actually alive, where everything you can actually talk to it, and you can be like, no, I set you there, I know, but I actually wanted you over there, move 2 inches to the left, thank you, and then you go on with your day, and the little thing just goes ahead and does it for you. Where everything will be interactive like that. Sounds a little creepy, but I really think that's the direction we're going as that continues to increase. You just think about the last 20 years and how many more objects we interact with on a non-physical level, where we communicate with them or we give them commands somehow, and you realize, I mean, even just the fact that everything has buttons like cameras and everything has become a method of programming on some level between you and the object, as opposed to inanimate objects that have no programming. Even something as simple as this SD card has technically has a sense of programming to it, where it's like when you plug it in, now it's on, it's accessible, and when you unplug it, it's off, it's inaccessible. And everything has this state now where it's not just a piece of wood or a piece of plastic or a piece of metal. It has multiple components, multiple things going on within it, where you're able to affect different states within it at different times. And we're used to it because that's how we interact with the world. But the more that happens, the more that increases, the more everything's going to get more and more complex. And I think we can cope with that, but it'll just change the way that we live. It is already so vastly different from people 50 years ago, but 50 years from now, if everything was like that, imagine if everything you interact with has a little brain in it, that type of life would be so completely different than what we live right now, that we would have a hard time just jumping into it and being able to adapt, being able to work with it. It'd be like everything you do is driving a car all the time. You could do that, but you'd have to know that ahead of time, or you'd be crashing all those cars. That's probably a terrible analogy, but let's go back to these little weird bacteria that are making electricity. A most shocking microbe. It's at home deep underground in soggy, oxygen-starved soil. Geobacter can survive in harsh environments that few other microbes can. They have nanowires, sulfur reducins, blah, 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 blah. We've got a lot of stuff going on with those, that they're living, breathing batteries. I really don't feel like reading the rest of this because we already kind of learned the main thrust gist of it. All right. Okay, I got a couple more here we're going to look at. This sounded interesting. It says Hog Wild. U.S. and Texas have out of control population of super pigs. So we... I'm just imagining you like open your door and there's this whole herd. I don't know what they're called in a group. They're not a murder of super pigs like sitting out in your front yard waiting to kill you. This is from just the other day, September 20th. There's a ticking time bomb when it comes to wild hogs and the billions in damage that they cause. There are about 9 million. 9 million. That's a lot of feral hogs in the U.S. Those numbers are ballooning and increasing the estimated $2.5 billion in damage they already cost in the U.S. each year. That's according to Dale Nolte, manager of the National Feral Swine Damage Management Program. There's another job that would be awesome. You come home and... Honey, did you get hired? Did you get the job? Yeah, actually, yes. I'm now the manager of the National Feral Swine Damage Management Program. Really? Yes. Well, what does the National Feral Swine Damage Management Program do, honey? Well, I'm not sure, but as soon as they give me the National Feral Swine Damage Management Program training manual, I will know everything I need to know about the National Feral Swine Damage Management Program at the Department of Agriculture. All right. He tells the Atlantic that the increasing numbers of feral hogs is sometimes referred to as a feral swine bomb. Oh, this is terrible. A swine bomb? This is just like this is talk about a pandemic, talk about an epidemic, talk about like something that we need to battle, we need to fight. We should be out there on the front lines with like guns and fighting this. And some people do. To go from 1,000 to 2,000, it's not a big deal. 2,000 pigs in your yard. But if you've got 1 million, it doesn't take long to get to 4 million, then 8 million. It's like these things reproduce. Nolte says some feral hogs, domestic breeds, and European wild boar have crossbred, and they'd become super pigs. According to Nolte, these super pigs are highly intelligent, they have very good senses of smell, and have physical attributes like heavy fur, which increase their ability to survive in the wild. This is what they inherit from boars. So they're essentially like boars, but like bred. They've crossbred, and the only ones that survive after crossbreeding are the really strong, hardy ones. So this selective survival of these things has basically created a terrible problem. These feral hogs are able to grow very big, 75 to 250 pounds. Now, I have been myself, as a 6'2" human being, I have been 250 pounds plus at times in my life. And that's a lot of weight, which means that's a lot of damage if that thing comes crashing into you or your house or whatever else. That's a lot. Like, if you've ever lifted weights and you've gone to... in fact, leave a comment if you have lifted on any lift more than 250 pounds, whether it was squatting, benching, whatever, and tell us how heavy it was, like relative to life in general. The Department of Agriculture says they can be twice that size, reach up to 3 feet in height. The problem with the hybrids is that you get all these massive benefits of all that genetics. Oh, those genetics striking again. Biologist Ryan Brooks says, wow, this guy killed a 488-pound feral hog. That's a big hog. That's a hog right there. They have 4 tusks. They're constantly growing. 2 on top, 2 on bottom. They're brown or black, which means they're going to be hard to see at night. They can run up to 30 miles an hour. This sounds like an invasion of like an alien creature. These 250-pound black creatures that run around at 30 miles an hour. It could go crashing through stuff. They have horns and tusks. This is serious. Ham havoc. The Department of Agriculture explains the myriad ways feral hogs cause damage. It affects everyone. Food. Yeah, I imagine they'd have to eat a lot to maintain that weight. They would eat and destroy field crops, sugarcane, corn, wheat, oats, rice, peanuts. They transmit pathogens. They eat fruit, berries, grapes, and nuts. I almost want to just sign, like, where do I sign up for the hog war? Like, I want to be part of the hog war 2020 and just go out there and just battle these things to destroy this invasion that's happening. I'm doing my part. Destroying the saplings, they rub plants with their bodies to get parasites off their skin. How dare they? Feral swine are known to carry at least 30 viral and bacterial diseases and nearly 40 parasites. Wow. Organisms with pathogens can be transmitted, including swine flu, you've heard of that one, salmonella, hepatitis, pathogenic E. coli. Physical attacks, that was the one I was most worried about. They're known to be aggressive toward farmers, hikers, picnickers. Those poor picnickers, people. We have to protect the picnickers. Save the picnickers. The department says aggression is increased when humans are associated with food, which most humans are. I mean, when you go farming, well, maybe not farming, although farming, you're farming food, but hikers, picnickers, you're going to have snacks on you, which means they'll sniff it out and they'll say, I don't know what they say. I don't know what sound these things make. They're probably actually horrendous. Like if you're out picnicking or you're camping, can you imagine camping in the middle of the night and you hear this off in the distance and it's a feral hog that's coming to eat your food and crash down your tent? It'd be like something out of a horror movie. Handouts, improper waste disposal. Wild hogs in Texas. Over 1.5 million feral hogs in Texas, with the highest populations occurring in East, South, and Central Texas. They spend $4 million a year trying to control hog populations. These pig populations are completely out of control, Brooke told The Atlantic, referring to the U.S. as a whole. I have no idea if that guy's even Texan. Who's Brooke? I missed that part. Was that the guy at the National Feral Swine? No, that's Dale Nolte. I don't know. They're talking about... Well, anyway, so a bunch of people are involved in this, and they all know and they all understand. This is bad. We got to fix this. Populations are starting to increase. Last fall, Great Hills Country Club in Austin reported that increased hog activity on its golf course. They're ruining the golf courses? No one's safe. Resulted in large and small chunks of grass. Lest you thought that these hogs were only destroying and uprooting small chunks of grass. No, large and small chunks of grass are being uprooted in these various course locations. We must put a stop to this and protect the golf courses of America. More concerning, in November 2019, a 59-year-old woman in Southeast Texas was attacked and killed by feral hogs. That's the first actual death that they've mentioned in this whole article. I would assume if you have, I mean, to be in all honesty, like all seriousness, this is dangerous. This is bad. Like these things are running around just wreaking havoc, doing whatever they want to do, and it's not like rodents where you could just like run them out with some cats or something. Like they're big. It sounds like they don't have enough natural predators to control this population. So, I mean, we'd be the natural predator in this case. But the other thing is, if this meat is any good, this is where business could take hold, and someone could say, we're going to have some guys out there hunting, taking down these hogs, and then processing the meat and selling it, and there you go. Like, that would solve this problem. We need capitalism involved in this problem. The woman was found in a front yard with severe head wound and other injuries consistent with animal bites. So it didn't just ramrod her to death. Like, it bit her. It would, like, attacked, like mauled her. Feral hogs can be hunted year-round in Texas. Licensed hunters must have permission from landowners. Feral hogs on coyotes, mountain lions are considered non-protected. Texas Parks and Wildlife says early Spanish explorers likely introduced those Spaniards. They introduced the hogs to Texas over 300 years ago, providing a crucial source of cured meat and lard. I mean, pigs are really handy. The Vikings grew pigs a lot because they grew quickly and they eat just about anything, and then you have a bunch of meat on hand. So they're really handy stuff. Oh, I guess that was the end of the article. Now we're talking about voting. Politics? No. Okay, wow. So no solutions offered. We're just going to talk about how these pigs, them pigs are everywhere out in Texas. I tell you what, we need to handle this. We need to get a posse together. Sounds like Texas needs to go back to the roots and get the posse going and go out and take these things down. I have not heard of anyone doing an organized attack on these, but I mean, that's what we need. I mean, seriously, like, this is bad. These things are everywhere. They're ruining the land there. And that's the thing is, if they continue to spread, then they're just going to ruin everywhere. Can you imagine a life like that where it's like you can't go outside because of the hogs that are running around everywhere, and you have to carry a shotgun with you all the time because there could be a feral hog attacking you? This is insanity. This must be stopped. We have to fight the bug. I mean, we have to fight the hogs. The only good hog is a dead hog. All right, that's what we need. We need a campaign of militaristic intent to destroy and root out this infestation. And I mean, once they get down to like mediocre levels, then we can pull back. But these super pigs, man, we need some super pig hunters. I would seriously sign up for that, to go on a super pig hunt. That would sound amazing. All right, we've been going for what, 29, 30 minutes now. We're gonna look at this last video we have here. Epic Takedown. Epic Takedown. That's all it is. I have no idea what it is. Epic Takedown. That's what I know. Most amazing takedown ever. Wow, this is taking me back. That editing. Wait, what? What is this a part of? This almost looks staged. Let me watch that again. Actually, let's watch that again, and we'll put this, since YouTube has these options, we're going to put it into 0.5 speed, even though it's going to look like terrible because it's at 240p. This looks like those moves that, who does that? Oh, Scarlett Johansson's character, the Black Widow, does in Marvel movies all the time, where it jumps up and the legs around the neck and then spinning around and doing all that stuff. That's what this looks like. She ducks the punch, jumps, does exactly that, and then flips him over, and then she's got him in a leg lock or a scissor lock thing around the neck. I don't know. I don't do these moves. The reason I was saying it almost looks like it was planned is because of the way he reacts. It does happen very quickly, and if you're not expecting that, I mean, I wouldn't be expecting that, so you'd probably just be kind of stunned, like, wait, what? I'm expecting, like, a strike back, some kind of a, dodge, some kind of a, something, more traditional, and if they're doing this kind of move. But see there how it almost looks like he's lifting her. Yeah. So, let me see if I can play it in, like, 0.25 or something so we can see exactly how that goes. So he swings, and then she puts his arm around her, and then, but essentially, it almost looks like he's keeping her aloft. And then when they do the roll, when he rolls over like that, yes, that is, she's taking him over. But see how he basically prepares for it? Like, he moves his leg, and then his back leg, you see how he rolls. Like, he's rolling very safely for him. And I mean, that could just be reactionary because he's trained to do that kind of thing. But the way it happens so smoothly and so quickly, this looks like they practiced this. Like they're demonstrating. I mean, it may be, it's supposed to be a demonstration. I don't know. I have no context for this whatsoever. Should we go to the comments? I don't own this video. There's all kinds of people don't know what they're talking about. All right. Yeah, I think it was staged in the sense that maybe this is a demonstration of, like, here's the kind of takedown you could do to someone. However, in real life, this probably wouldn't work this way. Let me tell you why. Depending on how large the person is you're going after. Because, okay, he swings here. Wow, this is such low quality. He swings here. Misses, right? She ducks it. And then what does he have to do? She's in front of him. He could either, like, bring that back leg around, kick her. He could then just, like, recover. But that was the other thing, is that's a very wide, aggressive, but overplayed swing, right? Like, this is the haymaker you see in an old bar fight in a movie that he does here, which anyone who knows anything about fighting knows that's a very poor move to do. Because you're wide open, like, the whole time. So he does this. He just does this whoosh, this big old woofy swing. And then I guess he's coming in with the right to try to connect. And that's when she actually does her move. She's blocking that one. So really the first punch wasn't really, it was maybe kind of set up, but not really important to the actual move. All right, so he goes in for a punch. She blocks it, sidesteps. And then this is the other thing of why. Okay, so right there, like, his weight is on his front leg, and he's moved forwards, right? Like, he's punching forwards. And I'm not an expert. I'm just talking. But that means his weight and his momentum and everything is moving forwards to his right a little bit, or forwards in front of him a little bit, right? Because that's where he just punched to. And that's why this move doesn't really make a ton of sense, because in, like, judo or something, you're wanting to use someone's momentum against them, so that the most obvious, easiest, simplest thing to do would be if someone punches like that, if you sidestep it, you then cause them to continue down that path. So you'd pull their arm, get behind them somehow. Maybe you would, if you're small like that, you could get around underneath behind them and do like pull their leg up and flip them over, whatever. You're wanting them to continue their momentum in a way that's disadvantageous to them, advantageous to you. However, she basically then changes that into pulling his arm down, maybe forward a little bit, but down, and then she's, like, climbing up on him, like you're mounting some kind of a table or something, which means he has to then stabilize. So then now, instead of he's got pressure, momentum moving forward, then she grabs him and she's pulling that down, and all he has to do is basically stop, drop, and roll in order to, like, crush her. Like, if someone's pulling you down like that, you could push against it and try to stand up, but if you're reacting in the moment, what you could do is drop and then, roll on top of her or something like that. If this was like a street fight or whatever, and obviously her being smaller, she'd be, hurt and crushed by your superior weight. Or, I mean, that's just something off the top of my head. Again, I'm not really a fighter. I'm just kind of having fun with this. But, so then she decides to climb up on him. And that's the other thing is I've had people, when I was doing wrestling, I've had people try to show me moves where they climb up on top of you. And which is kind of hilarious to me as a larger person, because I'm like, well, if you're on top of me, I basically have the advantage because I could just jump, like hold on to you so you can't go anywhere, jump, and then land on you, like break your neck, and you cushion my fall. Or if you don't have good enough grip, I could, if I'm strong enough and you're light enough, if there's as much of a differential like this, I could pick you up and throw you. Or I could, squat down and then do like a jump and throw, and then you have nothing. You have to catch that fall then off of me. So it's not necessarily as much of an advantage position as it might seem. It looks cool in movies and stuff, but anyways. So then she gets up. She does a whole spin around thing, which he's counterbalancing, her weight there, as you can see, like her center of gravity. She's got her legs around his neck, so she's kind of rotating around that, but he's leaning the opposite direction, which, again, at any point in this, it would almost be, if you weren't ready for this, it would almost be more likely that with that much of a pull against your center of gravity, you'd be falling towards wherever that pressure is going, right? So if something was swinging around your neck, you'd be falling against that, where that is, as opposed to bracing and preparing for it like this so that the person can complete their move. You would both just fall over. So she then spins around and essentially goes down. He does his nice little roll. Anytime you see somebody's legs flaring like that, like that's kind of a prepared move, like they're trying to make that roll as safe and seamless for everyone as possible. He goes down, boom. Now she's got him in her head, his head's locked in her legs, etc. Yeah, so that's that epic takedown, 13-second video. I don't know. I can't say I'm not impressed, because that does take athleticism, obviously, to do that. But it's one of those things, it's another one of those kind of movie-looking things where you're like, whoa, like, that's so crazy. If someone did that to me, I wouldn't be able to. It's like, come on. Like, he's not that big of a guy, but he's got a big weight and strength advantage to her. So that's a whole can of worms. But movies depict as if, any woman who knows magical martial arts can just take down any man. And just physically, that's just not going to happen. Like, physically, if you ever arm wrestled a woman or like had them fight against you, I had to catch there was a shoplifting at the store I worked at, and we actually had, it was kind of funny because we had a relationship. A lot of stores will just say let them go, it's what do they call it, loss, and they'll just let him go, and then we'll just, if we get him on camera, we'll prosecute him or whatever, but there's no reason to, get anyone hurt, blah, blah, blah. Well, at this store, they had a relationship with the police where we'd have a lot of people that would come in and do this on a regular basis, and they said, hey, if you catch anyone, hold them, citizen's arrest, whatever, and we'll come in and we'll get them, we'll pick them up, and that way we can actually stop these people, because they kept on stealing, and if you let them go, they're just going to come back again the next time and steal again, and they're just, flipping the jeans or whatever it is for drugs. So anyways, there was this girl that came in, and she had been known, they'd seen her before, and she'd grabbed, a few things, pilfered. And she had a pair of expensive jeans she had stolen, and made it out to the parking lot, actually, and they were kind of trying to corner her. I got in close enough, and they said, just grab her. And it was kind of hilarious if you've ever, as an adult, grabbed a child and held them like you're wrestling or you're playing or something, and, you kind of give them a little give and take, but so you're not trying to hurt them, but you're also... you don't realize how much more powerful you are than a smaller person until you actually grab them. Because, size-wise and mentally, you might be even on a similar level, with like a man and a woman that are adults or whatever. But then if you actually physically hold someone and then you're like, oh, they can't do anything. Because she was literally, it was like cartoonish. Like I just grabbed her around by her arms and just held her there, because we were going to take her back to the put her in the office and hold her there until the cops came to pick her up. And, and she was doing like the whole like squirming and then like kicking her legs and everything, and it was just, I was trying not to laugh because I was like, this is just cartoonish. Like I'm not even trying. Like it wasn't like I'm struggling, whatever. I was more just like, hey, stop that. Like quit doing that. That's kind of annoying. And it was just one of those moments where it clicks, where you're like, oh, men just have such an advantage over women as physically. that stuff like, magic spinny moves and stuff, yeah, it looks great in a movie, but it wouldn't actually work in real life. So don't be deceived by that. Now, what does work in real life, I was just talking about this with my brother the other day, what does work in real life is kicking them in the nuts. I mean, just gonna say it, like, yes, that does work. That is like the instantaneous shuts a man off and shuts him down. He's on the floor in pain. No matter how much pain he can take, like, he's gonna have to take a second after that. He's gonna have to take a breather and then recover from that. So, ladies, that is, as dirty as it might seem, that is a go-to move if you ever feel in danger. That's one that'll work. I can verify and vouch for that as a male who's had that happen to him. So, there's your street fighting tips for the day. I don't know how we got into that. I guess it was because of this video. All right, we've been going for 40 minutes. I think that's enough for today. I'm going to be coming back again later this afternoon or this evening. We got some other stuff going on, so that's why I'm not sure exactly what time, but we'll be doing our first hidden history, and that will be on Plato because we're going to talk about Atlantis. So join us for that, and thank you again for watching. If you like this stuff, subscribe to see more. Hit the little bell thing because for some reason Taco Bell, I don't know. And then leave a comment. Didn't get any chat today, so I'm guessing there's either not people on live or they don't really care to interact, which that's fine. That's cool. Keep your distance. We'll just keep on doing what we're doing. And anyways, thank you again for watching MORPHITES, and we'll join you next time.